Hello, here we are once again with Mookie Tenembaum. We are exploring, as many of you know, his disillusionist philosophy through these videos. We are trying to understand misalgic theory that explains human behavior as aversion to suffering. And today we are going to do a deep dive on that side of our ongoing exercise. We've tried to illustrate these rather abstract concepts and systems with facts from everyday life. Month after month, we've been covering even aspects of the news in order to provide examples and concrete approaches to concepts that would otherwise be, as I said, rather abstract. And today we're going to deal with a special concept in philosophy, which is, and in psychology, of course, which is the concept of cowardice. The cowards are going to be our subject matter today. And of course, this from a disillusionist point of view.
Well, first of all, there are very few words that have a stronger meaning or are viewed as a stronger insult, as really an aggression. It's an aggressive word than coward. People use that very often to impeach people's behavior on a variety of things. Yes, you could be a coward for not being able to have your diet, to stick to a diet. You are a coward because you cannot stop smoking. You are a coward because you don't, and the list is, well, of course, you are a coward if you run away in the middle of a battle, and everything in that range. But the word coward is universally an insult. There is nowhere, not one culture in the world that would say, coward, that's nice, very nice. That doesn't happen. It's not even a neutral word, ever. Now, the etymology of the word coward, because here the word is very interesting in itself. The etymology is the same in English as in Spanish, as in French, and the word comes from the Latin vocabulary cauda. Cauda means tail. Now, what that interesting what that entail? Yes, the tail is being seen as something that goes back. That's it's not a nice part. It's close to all the area that's continuing that's being thrown upon. So it's a bad word.
And cowards turn tail.
And yes, or yellow. They go. The color yellow they even have a color. Cowards. How many words have their own color besides the color himself? Yes, so you could be yellow. It's or green with envy. Yes, but yellow is enough. You don't even have to use that. You're yellow. The interesting thing that in German the word is fege, which is from another vocabulary, but it means literally vagina. We know that it's being used, the word testicles, balls. Yes, he has brass balls. You mean he's a person, he's exactly the contrary. Yes, he's he can do things other people cannot do. He's not a coward. And of course, the other side, the woman in the way people talk, used to be the coward one, the one that cowers in front of danger. We used to have, remember, we have a video about heroes. And hero is the contrary of coward, yes? And we have talked about how the word hero devaluated. It devaluated and it became the word, I remind you for people who haven't seen the video, into if you eat all your broccoli, you're a hero. If you finish your studies, you are a hero. Yes? If you brush your teeth every night, you are a hero. Heroism is so devaluated that jumping on top of a grenade is is the same as eating your broccoli. Yes, but in the word coward has not lost its lackluster. It's still there, and even if it's used on a daily basis, it's a very, very tough insult. The interesting thing is how coward is being defined by a dictionary. Now, I invite everybody to go to the dictionary and the definition, take a word. The other word is the same. Who feels fear, who is coward? That one who feels fear in dangerous situations or that carries, or they carry a certain risk. Now, let me understand. If you feel fear in front of a dangerous situation, you are a coward? No. You are a human. Disillusionism will tell you this is exactly what we should supposed to do. It's like accusing somebody of thermoregulating, of having the same body temperature all the time. It's really everybody. Now, do you understand that to run away from or feel fear in front of a dangerous situation, it's the way things that should be done? What do you think about all this, Florencia?
It's an interesting case, how the most natural aspect of behavior, which is just turning tail before danger, just feeling fear at a perilous situation, has become an insult, has become a matter of scorn. And my guess is that this leads us to the basic battle in disillusionism between individual and collective perspectives. From an individual perspective, there's no doubt about it, as you've been describing it. I am bound to feel fear in a dangerous situation. It's expected that I will turn tail when I'm threatened. The problem comes from a collective perspective, right? But that kind of behavior by me or others is a problem for the illusion, is a problem for the survival of the collective entanglement, not for the individual. I guess there we will find the paradox that we are trying to address sort of solved.
Well, it's interesting to take other words like temerity. Yes? It means he's taking too many risks. Or take the word psychopath. Psychopath means, we will know, the absence of three things: feelings, their moral conscience, and empathy. But one of the things that most psychopaths have in common is that they do not fear, they do not stop in front of risk. Their behavior does not take in account risk. Now, first of all, you have to make up your mind. Is there psychopath is good or psychopath is bad? Because he's good psychopath because he has the temerity, the necessary, the risk, he obtains the necessary risk. But this is exactly the point. Very important to address this. If I think or if I believe that risk does not exist or is less than I think, I'm not being,
brave, just ignorant.
The hero. I'm just being ignorant. So maybe the psychopaths do that. Yes, maybe psychopaths cannot evaluate, do not experience fear or have less fear because fear could be a sentiment. But that's discussion. That's really a conversational issue. What we are talking about is that there is no really bigger insult and more universal insult than coward. And from the misogyny point of view, and here this is the word coward is an anomaly for us in disillusionism. There is no such a thing as a coward. There is no. You are supposed to do that. As I say, you could be ignorant. You could be thinking that danger is bigger than it is. Okay, or you could think exactly the opposite as somebody else who thinks it's smaller. It's still ignorance. There are no brave people and there are no cowards, as there are not good people or bad people. They're just people running away from suffering as much as they can. Now, this is very important. Remember that we have in our system we have what is called the sacrificial matrix. That means I will take upon me to suffer a small suffering or a now suffering to avoid one in the future that I believe is worse. Okay, so I take a vaccine. You remember, so I will not be sick. There are many things that I do, and that I will take myself. I will take certain risk. And it looks like I'm being brave. I'm not being brave. If a person who avoids sugar and is diabetic, he's not being brave. He's trying not to die. In fact, he's averting suffering. Now, which suffering you think is more important than the other? That's your personal. On the other hand, you just mentioned it's the big fight between the individual and the collective. Yes, and I'm not going to go into this into this area now, but I can tell you that when you are in a collective, you have less fear. It's known that you have less fear.
Mm,
There is
mm,
you can also drink yourself into have less fear. Yes, the bravery of the drunk. Yes, or cocaine. We talked about it in our drugs video. You know, that kind of bravery. It's still not bravery. It's because you are not either evaluating the risk, or you're not conscious, or you are sleepwalking. Yes, the person who cleans the buildings, the skyscrapers windows. Yes, you would say he's brave. He's not brave. The first time he was brave. The second time he was brave. The fourth time, he's just sleepwalking. There is no fear in sleepwalking. So you see, there are certain details that show that the whole concept of coward is absurd. Or is it? Well, the answer is, Florencio, I am sure that you will have the answer for that.
I don't have an answer, but the trick is, to me, if this is something we all feel, is, as you said, no matter how we assess danger, once we have assessed some situation as dangerous, we are bound to feel fear. We are bound to turn tail. We are bound to withdraw from it. To me, the real problem is, why is accepting that cowardice, accepting that tendency to fear and turn tail, a suffering in itself? And here I think many of the stuff you mentioned adds up, because there is shame in the face of others, there is guilt, there is, of course, this that psychopaths lack, there is the moral consciousness haunting those who have shown fear in the face of danger. And as you said, there is punishment involved. There are sufferings that result from feeling fear and that result from turning tail in the face of danger. So you mentioned before the martial prowess of those who jump in front of a grenade, but we don't have to forget that soldiers are usually trapped between two threats. It's the threat of the enemy, of course, and the dangers of battle. But if they turn their back to that, if they show fear in those situations, there are court martials and there are firing squads awaiting deserters. So it's tricky. It's the whole economic of suffering once again. It's not that it's just the threat and the fear, right?
But the right way is the economic of suffering. That means I am supposed to do, probably you do some kind of adding and, seeing if what is best. But normally this happens automatically. Remember, again, when you are in the army, you are sleepwalking. Wow. You really have, in fact, you're being invited to sleepwalk. You're being promoted because you sleepwalk. Sleepwalking is part of that. And remember that your life is confused with the life of your friends. Yours, when you see somebody else is dying or somebody else is maimed, it has a strong impression on you. You suffer a lot. And maybe you think, maybe, if it happens to you, you will not have to suffer to see your friends dying. There are a lot of people who would prefer to die themselves, and I would say the majority, than to see their children dead. And here we have here, but that's exactly. We don't know what kind of calculus is being done in those brains. But the interesting thing is that for three reasons, people are being kept being brave. Yes, so it's as you say, the moral conscious, shame or something like that, close to shame, the societal scorn, and of course the gun. Yes, if you do that, you are not risking your life with me. You have done your life. Your life is finished, and we will court-martial you, and we will shoot you. And that's with running away in battle in every army is death penalty automatically. Yes.
But interestingly, thinking and believing that I go to battle because I am a coward, because I'm afraid of the firing squad, that's unacceptable. That I was thinking, as you were speaking about all these euphemisms, all these words we have to replace. The military does not flee. They are tactically retreating. They are evacuating a position. It's all sorts of beautiful words there to mask the fact that we withdraw from dangerous situations.
Well, the individual in himself also has the word prudence. Oh, I'm not being a coward. No. I'm just being prudent. I'm being logical. I'm evaluating things. They will use that, and there are many, many words to exculpate, yes, to atone for that weakness of being a human being, running away from suffering. That's about what being a coward means. If you are a coward, they say basically you are a disillusionist. Yes, basically they're being called a disillusionist. It is, but you understand, countries cannot survive if everybody.
Exactly.
That's the truth. I don't want to think that I'm thinking, people should be all running. That's not true. We know people vote, and they shouldn't, because it doesn't make sense on an individual level to vote. Yes, people do a lot of things for the collective, and the idea is that, remember, we talked about immortality a few videos ago. Yes, I get immortality because I'm part of a something, and it's not me. Yes, I can survive myself through the collective, and that way, I get confused. I don't know what happened when the bullets start flying around you. Yes, I mean, probably that is quite sobering. There is a war now going around, and there have always been wars, and there is a lot of stories of cowards and heroes, mostly about heroes. But finally, I want to make a point. We talked about the moral conscience. So you feel guilt if you're doing something wrong. Running away from suffering may be one of them. And again, remember the guilt. If guilt hurts more than the suffering you're running away from, well, you will take that suffering gladly to feel guilt. Now, if guilt is such a pain, why there are no people who are who try to be brave in front of their own guilt? Okay, let's imagine I will kill somebody, not because I want to kill him, and not because I think it's right. I think it's very wrong. In fact, I'm sure it's very wrong. I will kill him so I could withstand in front of my moral conscience and be brave in front of the punishment of guilt. It's very interesting that doesn't happen. It's inside your brain, and there is really no way out of it. So you will never do that. Nobody will consider brave because it does something that normally gives people guilt.
And then withstands. Yeah, but it's also interesting what you just said. Yes, because all the other sufferings connected to showing cowardice, you can escape. You can escape shame. You just have to be away from everyone who would scold you for it. You eventually can escape the authorities going to punish you for being a coward. Not every deserter has died in front of a firing squad. I guess most deserters found their way around that. But the moral consciousness
during the Vietnam War was to Canada, yes.
But even then, you see, as we go through the examples, even then, it was not framed as being afraid of going to war. It was framed as objecting to the violence.
Conscious objecting, again.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I don't think I've ever heard someone claim, I avoided that situation because I was afraid of it. That's a natural thing, as anyone would tell you. But what puzzled me was the fact that every other suffering caused by cowardice you could avoid, but not guilt. That would go with you forever. And as you said, this is part of what we call the sink. This is part of the forces that bring collective groups of people together. And if you do away with this, the sink would break.
Yes, I absolutely agree. One little thing I thought about, do you see a grandfather telling his grandkid how he ran away in front of danger? Normally they will say, I wrote and I fought and I did and I did. Normally they would be saying, no, I ran away. It was very good. I hide inside of, that normally doesn't happen. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed the video, please like it, comment and subscribe.